So howdy y'all. I was just thinking about how long it's been since I've recorded a video, and I was just thinking about data actually. And not only data, but how some of the characters in many of the different series of Star Trek have characters that have characteristics that could be uh, seen as Aspie, or somebody who has autism, or somebody who's just not socially acceptable. Um, and I was thinking about Data and how, he seems like he doesn't have emotions, which he doesn't because he's an android. And so he thinks about everything a little bit differently than the rest of us. And I'm sorry that I'm moving around a lot, but I'm trying to get comfortable in my car while I do this video for you. And it's really hard for him to fit in. And the awesome thing is he doesn't really care. I mean, yeah, he's always trying to be human, but he's not, like, humiliated about the fact that he doesn't know. He just says, Captain, query, what is the word knave, or what is the word rogue, or... He doesn't feel embarrassed about who he is. And that, I mean, it's not the show that I started out watching. I've probably seen TNG once or twice in my life before I fell in love with Voyager. But Data is just, oh God, he's amazing to me. Because I strive to be the person that he is. I strive to be the person who does not care what people think about the fact that I'm a little socially awkward. And who just asks when he has a question instead of thinking, what is this person going to think? Or am I going to seem weird because I don't know the answer? Or any of the other millions of questions that probably go through most of Aspie's heads every day thinking about things. But my other and newest favorite potential Aspie is Malcolm from Enterprise. I find that he's very socially awkward and very smart in kind of a single target kind of way. He's very smart about armory, but not so much anything else. I mean, they do engineer those phase cannons to put on the back of the ship, but that is armory. Or not on the back of the ship, to put on the hull of the ship. I think they deploy from underneath. But he knows one thing and one thing only, and that one thing is weapons. And to me, I find that interesting because people who have Asperger's, people who have autism can be very single-minded. People who have this diagnosis, I'm not going to say disease, I'm not going to say disability because I don't see it that way, but people who have this diagnosis tend to be very single-minded. They tend to have one thing that they really enjoy and not so much anything else, and it's to the almost extinction of everything else, or to the detriment of everything else. It's just one thing that they enjoy doing, or a couple of things that they enjoy doing, or enjoy talking about, and not much else. And for Malcolm, it's weapons. It could be that, or it could be like Seven, where she knows everything of a multitude of things and just always feels like she needs to impart that information to everybody else. And for me, yeah, I have a few interests. They are not nearly as diverse as they could be. But I find that sometimes I find myself thinking that maybe that makes me better. Or maybe that the fact that I do obsess, for lack of a better word, on or about certain things can be a benefit. The fact that I obsess about Star Trek, And before I really started watching it, I kind of didn't realize that it was as amazing as it is. And when I fell in love with Seven, I decided to try to be better at being social and just being a social person and talking to people and talking to people well. And that in and of itself for people with autism is very, very difficult. And the fact that I like Star Trek helped me do that, because now I go to the Star Trek Club in Santa Monica, shout out, every 2 weeks, and we talk about episodes that we've watched, and we dissect Star Trek with a fine-tooth comb and decide what we think about Star Trek. And if I had never gotten into Star Trek, I probably wouldn't have all those friends. I wouldn't have my best platonic friend Chad. I would not have many, many people in my life. I would not be Lieutenant Commander, not totally because of bribery, inside joke. I did bribe my captain like a Ferengi so that I could get a higher rank, and I gave him Star Trek washcloths. Look on your screen, because I'm sure I'm going to go put the link for my store so you can go see the Star Trek washcloths yourself. But when you deal with one thing specifically and don't necessarily find yourself having interest in other things, it can make you better at the one thing. Like, I absolutely love knitting. I love knitting, I love crochet, and they're two of my most favorite things in the whole wide world to do. If I hadn't been so obsessed and constantly trying to do it, I don't think I would be as good as I am. So I think sometimes being obsessed with something or being very single-mindedly focused can actually work to your benefit. It just makes you sometimes a little antisocial. Unless you can find a group that actually likes what you like. I guess for Malcolm it would be the NRA. Or not the NRA, because they don't exist anymore in Star Trek world, but whatever the equivalent is in his time. People who are obsessed with weapons. People who like weapons. People who take interest in weapons. I'm a teacher. I don't know if all of you know that, and some of you do and some of you don't, because some of you are close friends of mine, my subscribers. Others are just people that I know. And others are just people that have come across my page and decided to subscribe. And every day that I work at this job, I see a little bit of Data and a little bit of Seven in my kids. I see the wheels turning, like when Data gets that look on his face, like, oh yeah, I can see that look in my kid's face, and their wheels are turning, and then they get it, and it makes everything in my job worth it. I love my job, and I love working with kids with autism, probably because I have autism too. But whenever I have an issue, whenever I have a problem, I think about Star Trek, and it kind of doesn't seem so bad anymore because it gives me something to love. And I think of Seven, and her improvement in social skills gave me the courage to go ahead and start improving mine. We are nearing 10 minutes, and I'm not sure in this moment that I have much more to talk about. Plus, I need to go put my Star Trek poster in the mail so it can get to the person who bought it. So, live long and prosper. I will see you all the next time I record a video.